now, be on site in just a few hours.
Must be 21 years of age or older to enter the casino floor and to gamble, and must present a valid state or federal photo ID upon request. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. An enterprise of the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians.
A musician with technical knowledge can play all the right notes, but one who cares enough to play from the heart gives music soul. At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking. Because when you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Start feeling unstoppable. Visit truist.com/care. Truist Bank, member FDIC, leading based on top 10 U.S. commercial bank.
Hey, Joy. Oh, you are glowing.
Oh, hey, more like Mirajoyed. That Miralax helped me go. I was so backed up. Tried mega coffees, prune juice, everything. Then Miralax. And hello, gentle relief without the harsh side effects.
Ooh, how does it work?
It works naturally with the water in your body for constipation relief. Find Miralax today at Walmart.
Use as directed for occasional constipation.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The wait continues for former Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders. He was not picked last night during the opening round of the NFL draft, so he will wait for his name to be called tonight. ESPN NFL draft analyst Mel Kiper Jr. listing Sanders as the best available prospect heading into rounds 2 and 3. 6 Eastern ESPN Radio, 7 Eastern ESPN 2 and ABC. Cleveland has the first pick in round 2. Grizzlies point guard Ja Morant will be evaluated further today after suffering a hip injury during last night's loss to the Thunder in Game 3 of that NBA first-round playoff series. Was spotted on crutches in the fourth quarter. He is uncertain for tomorrow's potential elimination game. Reigning NBA champion Celtics listing small forward Jason Tatum as doubtful Game 3 against the Magic tonight with a bone bruise in his right wrist. 7 Eastern ESPN. Boston has a 2-0 lead.
Where's the best place for sports? What about the best place for wings? If you answered Jefferson's for both, you're right. Jefferson's is also a great place for value. Every Monday, kids eat free with the purchase of an adult meal, and teachers bring your teacher ID, and you eat free every first Tuesday of the month up to $15. At Newmarket, Jefferson's will be opening a new location at 2190 County Road 65 very soon. Jefferson's, best place for sports, best place for wings. Hampton Cove, and soon in Newmarket.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown and you. You're tired. The lunchtime whistle and the morning's finally done. I'm jumping in my car, I'm gonna have a little fun. The Doghouse Network's on my radio dial. Big Dog's taking care of business for a while. You're listening to another station I don't understand. Nobody does it like Tom Abraham.
Give us a call, Steve.
He's a northern-bred, southern-fed, slick-talking guy. Listeners in his posse are the junkyard dogs. The SEC from Tennessee to calling them hogs. They go up to Lexington to the Titan Tiger Land. Nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
Yes, I'm on here. Am I on? Somebody respond.
In the doghouse. There you go. Not the original, but you get the idea. It is Football Friday in the doghouse. It's the NFL draft version of Football Friday in the doghouse with the first round in the books and more chatter about who wasn't taken than who was. Of course, the Cleveland Browns made a move out of the 2-hole down into the 5 and picked up some serious draft capital as well, getting the Jags 2 and 4 this year, and they're 1 next year. Here's a prediction for you. Here's my first prediction of the day. Here's a prediction for you. The Jags 1 in 2026 will be higher than the Browns 1 in 2026, okay? The Browns' first-round draft pick in 2026, the first pick they make will be the one they got from the Jaguars as opposed to their own one. So we'll see if that prediction come true. The Falcons loaded up on edge rushers as well. That is exciting. Not only does legendary Shedeur Sanders remain in his basement with his daddy, the Giants jumped the gun, trade back into the first round to snag Jackson Dart. Just had to have him. I mean, you're the New York Football Giants. You got to have a quarterback, right? We better hurry up. We better trade. Let's get back into the first round because I can't believe that Shedeur said, we'll take Jackson Dart. How embarrassing for Sanders. How embarrassing. All right, we welcome those of you that are watching on the X, the Facebook, the YouTube, on WZZN TV, as well as I join you from the beautiful Bleckley Inn in downtown Anderson, South Carolina. I just finished my second TV hit on Bassmaster Live today with the halftime show. I'm done for the weekend. So I'm done now. If you missed it, you missed it. I'm done for the weekend. And I just realized that the lights are off behind me. So I got bad lighting going on here probably, and we'll get those lights on here in a little bit behind me, and then maybe you can see a little bit better. But I am coming to you from the beautiful Bleckley Inn in downtown Anderson, and I'm stoked because they're going to have all kinds of activity going on here tonight. They got this big – oh, I hear John playing music in the background. Now he's got it. There you go. Stop talking about it. Now I can get my groove on. What I need right there. I mean, how can you even get through a Football Friday without that? Got my bobblehead going. Fantastic. It is fantastic. Thank you for that. They got all kinds of activity going on down here in downtown Anderson, South Carolina tonight. They've got this thing called the soiree or whatever it is. It's a fine art, craft, and music festival. I could care less about the fine art and craft thing. I know the Junkyard Babe will be into that. I'm looking forward to the music. Clay Walker is playing at 7:30 tonight down here, Eastern time, 6:30 Central time. And I'm kind of looking forward to that and bumping around a little bit there before I head back tomorrow to the beautiful confines of Winchester, Tennessee. Lines are open, 256-576-4977, 256-576-4977. You can text the show at 7329-TA-SHOW, 732-982-7469. That is a great way to communicate with us. My personal X feed is at Thom Abraham Show. And yes, we had a bunch of people that hit the draft factor yesterday. All right. Baby Abe told me, he's our social media director, and he told me that this draft factor was too easy. I asked you guys for the first 4 picks in order. I don't care what team took them, but the first 4 picks in order. Of course, you had to have Cam Ward and Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter and Will Campbell in order. Well, like 6 or 8 of you got it. I mean, it's crazy. So you're all going to a Trash Panda baseball game, and we're going to hook you up with some chow as well. So stop asking me what you won. Stop asking me. And if I sent you a text that said, give me your address, make sure you give me your full name and your address. It's hard to just send it to, Bama Brad or something like that. You know what I mean? Or just whatever your nickname is. All right, don't just tell me Mongo. I just can't put it in the mail and have it sent to Mongo. I got to give them a name and an address so that it can be sent to you. So, not that Mongo or Bama Brad won. I don't even. There was too many even to tell you who all won. So Baby Abe was right on that. That was too easy, but that's okay. I want to send a bunch of you to the baseball game anyway. We got some great deals for you on Big Zone deals. By the way, you can snag some half-off food or golf, or some Flow trampoline park for the kids. The kids get out in like 3 weeks, right? What are you going to do with the kids when they get out in 3 weeks? You're taking a Flow trampoline park, all right? So just go there to Big Zone Deals and buy the Flow for half price. Or maybe get a donut from Bigfoot's Little Donuts. We got that going on for you there as well. Today's monologue is brought to you by Valley Equipment Rental, where on Thursday, all right, next Thursday, it'll be Customer Appreciation Day at the North Parkway location of Valley Equipment Rental. I will be there doing the show from noon to 2 on Thursday, May 1st. We'll have free barbecue for you from 11:30 until 1:30. They'll have free barbecue, and there's a rumor that Ross Roberts will actually be cooking the barbecue himself. I don't know if that's 100% true. I might have just made that up. When you're there, you can see all the stuff that they've got, not only for the homeowners, but for the contractors as well. The homeowner, you can go down there and get a tiller to get that garden started. Or if you're a contractor, you can go down there and get a bulldozer, whatever. All right. They've got it all, everything in between at Valley Equipment Rental. And they got more forklifts than you can shake a forklift at. They got everything that you need. Got to get those shingles up high on a roof of a commercial building. They've got it. They've got them 52-foot working height, 10,000 pound. They got it all down there. They got the tow behind for the homeowner. You want to power wash the house? You get the power washer there from Valley Equipment. You get the tow behind. 35-footers to 55-footers, you tow it behind, you boom, you go there and you knock out your house. All right, there's just all kinds of things that you can do. Now, coming up at the bottom of this hour from Falcons Radio, Beau Morgan is in. The Dirty Birds snagged Jalen Walker from nearby Georgia at 15 and then traded back into the first round to get James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee at 26. And I'm going to make another prediction. If Pierce can become more consistent, just more consistent, not 100%, not Myles Garrett consistent, just more consistent, I'm not sure that James Pierce Jr. won't end up being the better of these two players. Now, look, 15, 26, they're both mid-first round guys, all right? So, I think these guys could be a dynamic duo for many years to come. So the Falcons do not have a second-round pick today. In fact, their next pick will be near the end of the night tonight. They will pick tonight in the third round at 101. It's like the second or third last pick in the third round tonight. All right? They also gave up next year's one to get a second one this year. All right? So if these two guys work out, it'll be well worth it. You'll be like, well, you gave up your first-round pick next year. Well, yeah, but you got 2 first-round picks this year. So it's, I'm okay with that. You don't have a 1 now next year. Yeah, but you had 2 1s this year. And you took 2 stud defensive end edge rusher type guys. So I think it's a good pickup. It's a good haul for the Falcons. And, of course, with Raheem Morris now as their head coach, defensive-minded guy, got to shore up that defense, because he'd be just kind of throwing up a little bit in his mouth every time he watches that team play defense. Because, they just haven't been very good. Haven't been able to get any pressure on the quarterback. Now they're going to get pressure on the quarterback. All right. Also, coming up on the radio show today, in hour number 2 of the show, quarterback guru Ken Mastrole of the Mastrole Passing Academy will join us with his thoughts on Cam Ward, who, of course, went number 1 overall, plus the Giants trading up for Jackson Dart, and what happens now for Shedeur Sanders, a legend in his father's mind. What happens? The Browns are on the clock at 33. I mean, they've been talking about it all day long. Do you think they've been on the phone with Shedeur Sanders? And I don't know that they have to take him at 33 because the Browns have 33 and 36. And in between them is the Texans and the Titans. You don't think that the Titans are shopping that pick? Hey, somebody hey, Saints, you guys want Shedeur Sanders? Huh? You got to jump in front of Cleveland at 36. If Cleveland wants him, they should just take him at 33. If they want him, take him at 33 and be done with it. If you're not sure, don't get cute. All right, don't take TreVeyon Henderson, the running back out of Ohio State, or one of these other guys. And then, we'll get him at 36. If you want him, take him. If you don't care, if you're okay taking, the kid out of Louisville, the show kid out of Louisville, then don't take him. But if you want Sanders, go ahead and take him at 33 before somebody trades up with the Texans or the Titans and jumps in front of your 36 pick. All right, so the Browns are on the clock, and they have the Jags too, and they'll make 2 picks in their first 4 picks tonight. So we'll see if he goes there. Houston is second. The Titans are third. Neither of them are taking a quarterback. All right, so the Browns will have their choice. All right. The question will be for Cleveland forever, not forever, but for the next 10 years, is did they make a colossal error passing on Travis Hunter for picks and Mason Graham, the defensive tackle out of Michigan? He was a dynamic tackle. He's not the most athletic kid in the world, but he's a pretty good defensive tackle. It's going to be pretty nice to stick him right there alongside of Myles Garrett if he can get the job done. The last time they did something like this, they took a defensive tackle that never made it to the 3rd year. In 2011, Cleveland made a big move. They traded the 6th pick overall to Atlanta for a bunch of picks. The Falcons took Julio Jones, whose next stop is the Hall of Fame, while the Browns took, remember Phil Taylor out of Baylor? They took Phil Taylor from Baylor. Oh, this is a can't-miss defensive tackle. He missed. And they also took Brandon Whedon later on in their draft. They took Owen Marachek. Who the hell is Owen Marachek? I don't even know. I'm a fan of that team. I don't even remember Owen Marachek. That's what they did. In the meantime, Atlanta took Julio Jones, a Hall of Fame wide receiver. Yeah, that was a great deal. So we'll see whether or not this happens. Mel Kiper, all over Shedeur Sanders' jock, right from the beginning of the show to the end of the show. I don't know how much dough that guy got from the Sanders family or what the story was, but he was questioning whether or not the Titans should have taken Shedeur Sanders number 1 overall. And then he was stunned that the Browns didn't take him at 5. And then he was stunned that the Saints didn't take him at 9. It's the perfect place for him as a Saints. And he was stunned that the Saints didn't take him at 9. And he was stunned that the Steelers didn't take him at 21. So, and then he was stunned that the Giants didn't take him as well. So, Mel Kiper, he is pushed all in on Shedeur Sanders. As usual, the SEC dominated last night. Almost half the picks out of the SEC. 15 of the 32 picks came from the SEC last night. The Big Ten had 11. Good job by the Big Ten. They had 11. So the SEC and the Big Ten produced 26 of the 32 picks. There you go. The ACC had 2, and that included Cam Ward, who was in the ACC for like 20 minutes. All right? 2. The Big 12 had 2. That's it. 2. If there's any more evidence that we should stop calling it the Power 4, the Big 4, the any 4. It's the Power 2. Just call it the Power 2 and everybody else. 26 of the 32 picks came from the SEC and the Big Ten. It's just absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. All right, back in mission control. Playing the Play Doesn't Matter, the Stacks of Wax, answer the phones, living large and in charge on a Friday. Well, Jumpin' Joe Hunk's off doing UAH baseball, so it's Baby A.
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put the thing together on a spit and polish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
I have a sentimental weakness for my children, and I spoil them, as you can see. They talk when they should listen.
Give me back my son.
I don't like violence, Tom. I'm a businessman.
I'm telling you, there's an embarrassing press conference in that kid's future.
You ain't first. You're last. He's got Abraham down.
What a catch! What a catch!
A leaping catch at the 45-yard lines, and he brings it in.
Nothing like the draft to get you going on a Friday.
I love Joe Hunk, right? He's like a son to me. You know what I mean? I mean, he really is. I mean, I've known him for 25 years. He's like a son to me. But you're like a son to me, too. I mean, you're like an actual son to me.
I think I am.
You know?
I'm the Shedeur Sanders to your Dion.
Well, me and Dion have something in common now. Neither one of our sons were drafted in the first round. All right? So you're a first rounder in the radio world. I'll say that. So me and Dion Sanders have that in common. Dion's son nor my son got drafted in the first round.
Let's be honest. If you tried to help me a little bit more going to a college that would actually produce me well, and then I would be able to transfer into a normal.
Don't you bust on.
I'm just saying.
UAH. UAH got a great broadcasting program there. Don't be breaking. Don't be busting on UAH.
I'm all for UAH. I'm talking about Lindsey Wilson.
What college did I go to? Not a broadcasting college. I went to St. John Fisher College. And I went to Rochester Institute of Technology for 20 minutes. Okay, so don't tell me about if you're going to a college. You got all the colleging that you need for this gig. That's for sure.
Well, for football, though, it was a different story. UAH kind of lacking in that side of things. But
well, you should have taken that scholarship offer and gone to Harvard. The heck didn't you do that for?
You didn't help me study. You didn't even, when you saw my math.
They wouldn't have offered you if they didn't think you could cut it academically. You were a good student academically.
I showed up. Done it. I showed up.
So I don't even think I'm looking at the feed here at WZZN TV. I don't even think I need these lights behind me. Do I need these lights?
No, I think you're looking fine over there.
I'm all right.
Yeah, you got a golden forehead, and then you got the light coming from, I guess, the outside window. I think you're looking good.
We got light. The windows are open here at the hotel now. It's interesting. I need to send you a picture of the set from our Bassmaster Live halftime set on location. The lighting that we have there, we literally, it was heavy cloud cover today, and Dave Mercer and I were doing a show together. We literally wore sunglasses the whole time because the lights on the set are so bright. The lights, there's 4 of them, and they are 24 by 24 inches. They're 2 foot by 2 foot, these lights. They're massive, and there's 4 of them that are right in front of us. And I don't know. It didn't seem like we were lit that much different than what we are now.
Yeah. Well,
are you looking at it?
I'm looking at the pictures actually right now. Those are they look like TV screens. That's what they look like from behind.
They do.
They look like 32-inch screens.
I think people thought that they were TV screens, and they're not TV screens. Now we do have a TV monitor in front of us. It's about a 40-inch monitor that is in front of us. I don't know what pictures you're looking at. Maybe the ones I sent you yesterday. But yeah, it's a very well lit set, multiple camera deal. It's a full blown deal, and that was good. Now I'm done. There you go. So John's showing it a little bit there. There's one I think I sent that kind of a pull back the curtain one. Is there one that's like behind the scenes? Where you can see the whole. There you go. You can kind of see the whole scenario there.
It's the fun of WZZN TV. We just show the phone screens to show the pictures. What
I need to do is I'll put that one. I need to use that one for a background on the green screen. You know what I mean? I can put that one, but that could be weird because we get like me behind me.
Yeah.
So that might be a little bit odd. But
some people might be
get
confused.
Back in the studio.
Yeah,
that could be confusing. Your take on what we saw last night, and Shedeur, I know that you, your brothers, me, we were all texting each other as it was happening, and Shedeur was falling right through the floor of the first round.
Yeah, well, I don't think it was terrible. It's funny because I got the first 7 picks correct. Well, actually, first 8 all the way up to the Panthers with McMillan, and I was impressed by that. But I did not think that we'd see the Cleveland Browns bounce back and trade with Jacksonville. But I feel like that's the best place that Travis Hunter could go. I feel like this is where a lot of studs have gone in the past to not really succeed too much. I know there's 2 in question that I think of, Justin Blackman, and then on top of that, there was Denard Robinson. Neither of them went on to have great careers.
Yeah, but Shoelace didn't come out of college like Travis Hunter.
He came out like Jalen Milroe. I'll say that. Jalen Milroe.
Now, if you want to say that Lawrence, Trevor Lawrence hasn't really totally panned out 100%. Remember Trevor Lawrence, Trevor Lawrence was thought to be Peyton Manning, right? Yeah. That's what everybody thought about Trevor Lawrence. Since he was a freshman, we talked about Trevor Lawrence, and he was thought to be Peyton Manning. And then all of a sudden, he turns into Trevor Lawrence. Now, he did get a second contract, a big contract. He's had some decent success, but not great success. I don't think anybody out there thinks that Trevor Lawrence has
met his full potential at this particular point in time.
No, definitely not. For the Browns to get Mason Graham, it's an interesting one. We'll see how that pans out. I don't think he was the best defensive,
I think he's the best defensive
grabbed.
tackle. I think he's the best tackle in the draft. He was the best defensive tackle in this draft.
Yeah.
I just hope he's not Phil Taylor from Baylor.
Yeah,
I just hope it's not another one of them deals.
I remember that years and years ago. But for the Browns to open up with 2 picks right out the gates in round 2, I'm looking at I would be the one to say let's have a little bit of fun with this. I would say grab Luther Burden III with the 33rd pick, and then go and get and then Shador at the 36. But there is that concern of course, the Titans or the Texans trading away and then putting in the Saints or somebody else who is QB needy. But I think the Browns need to snag a wide receiver to give to Shador, and I don't think Luther Burden would be at that 36 spot. Because I think the Texans would love to snag up another wide receiver.
I think the Titans would love to grab him too as well. But I think that somebody would jump. I think that somebody would jump in front of the 36 pick at that point. I think, or the Raiders sit right behind the Browns, so that's where now you start thinking about Jalen Milroe, right? And what are the Raiders going to do at 37? Steve Bowman, one of the muckety mucks from Bass, kept asking me, what are the Raiders going to do? What are the Raiders going to do? First of all, they overreached, I thought, for Ashton Genty. I'm sorry. The running back, that high, I don't like it. I still don't like it. I know what running backs did last year, and it was the year to return it a running back and all of that. And I get it what Saquon Barkley did. But what did Saquon Barkley did? He did it with Jalen Hurts. He did it with the best offensive line in the NFL. He did it with the best receiving core in the NFL and a really good tight end. I mean, they're loaded offensively. Yes, you drop that guy into that. Ashton Gentry's not getting dropped into that offense. No. If you drop Gentry into the Philadelphia Eagles offense, oh, sure, they're going to go win the Super Bowl. But if you drop him into the Raiders offense, I don't know that he's that incredibly dynamic. No. I don't know that that's the deal there. But now you see what happens. If Shador Sanders is on the board still, there's no doubt in my mind that the Raiders would take him. If the Browns don't take him at 33 or 36, then I think the Raiders would take him. But if the Browns do take Shador Sanders off the board, I think we're going to see Jalen Milroe to the Raiders.
I think that's interesting. I think that it would be still a stretch, but at the same time, for the Raiders, that's one of the biggest things they need. And I think it's worth taking that gamble to get a quarterback in there that is seen as one of the most athletic players in the entire draft, to see if he could, build. But at the same time, I think the Raiders, they've got Geno Smith at the QB position. Do you think
that's why I say it's perfect for him? Because he can go there and sit for 2 years. Geno can give you 2 years. Plus, you could put Jalen Milroe in there. You could have packages for Jalen Milroe in the red zone. You don't want Geno Smith running the read option in the red zone. So you run Jalen Milroe out there, let him run the read option. And then, away you go. But, a pick I loved was the San Diego Chargers with Marion Hampton, the running back out of North Carolina at 22. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm making another prediction. I'm making all these predictions. I'll make another prediction. Not that anybody's keeping track of my predictions, but Marion Hampton at 22, I think will have as good a career as Ashton Genty at number 6 to the Raiders.
You got to remember, they got Najee Harris, too. Where's he supposed to fall within that?
Who are you talking about? Who?
The Chargers.
Well, that's why. What a great. Think about who the coach is there. That's what he wants, right? He's duplicating what he had at Michigan when he had the 2 great running backs at Michigan. So now he's got one doesn't get it done in the NFL anymore for the most part. So with Najee Harris and Marion Hampton, I think they got a heck of a running attack there to go along with a quarterback they've got in place. And take some of the pressure off the quarterback, and away you go. I think it was a great pick.
I do agree. I think that it is the way to start a running back's career. You got to have him behind a veteran, similar to the quarterback position, especially if you want the longevity of the player itself. But again, those first 2 seasons, and then whenever Najee Harris goes away, I feel like those first 2 seasons, little results. But then whenever it's his ship to ride, I think that's whenever he's going to be able to take off and have success. So.
He'll be a good third down guy. And again, Najee Harris gets 15, 18 carries and the Hampton gets 10 or 11 carries.
No,
I think that's the way it'll be. It'll be something along those lines. All right, we'll get a break in here. Before we go off to break, we tell you that TOC has serviced now thousands of area residents, and they have received world-class care from the Valley's most trusted and experienced group of orthopedic surgeons and medical specialists. If you have an orthopedic problem and are considering professional care, TOC is the only logical choice. Stay in the game with TOC. Beau Morgan will join us next from Falcons Radio. He's coming up right here on the Thom Abraham Show.
The sound of the organ. The crack of the bat.
It is gone.
The sight of watching the ball go over the wall. And the taste of peanuts and Cracker Jacks. There's nothing like it. It's America's pastime. From the first pitch to the final out, you can hear every game right here on your home for Alabama baseball.
Your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide is 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
But you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
I'm here with Thomas from Talent Heating and Air. With the temperatures going up and temperatures going down right now, now is a good time to get your heating and air system looked at. Thomas, when somebody calls, you guys answer.
That's right. The phones are staffed by us. They're manned 24/7. We're ready to come out and take care of you that day.
How do they give you guys a call?
You give us a call at 256-503-4490.
And you can find you guys on the World Wide Web at
talenthvac.com.
And now is a good time to do this because you guys are offering a special deal.
That's right. We're doing $49 tune-ups this spring. We're also doing free second opinions. We offer that year-round. Somebody comes out, they say you got a back compressor, leaking refrigerant. Give us a call, see if we can save you some money.
Thomas from Talent Heating and Air. Thomas, one more time, that phone number.
256-503-4490. AL certain number 21014.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WZZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Segment of the Thom Abraham Show is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, their award-winning service department. There for routine checkups to keep your Ford or other brand in perfect working order. It's Woody Anderson Ford. If you got a bigger problem, Their expert service technicians are going to quickly diagnose it. They're going to use state-of-the-art tools to resolve it as well. And, Woody Anderson Ford also has that mobile service where they can come out to you. And they've got, do things like oil changes and tire rotations or parts replacements like windshield wipers or lights. They do it all with the mobile service like that. And then if you're only available on the weekend or in the evening, they got the quick lane service department as well, your one-stop shop at Woody Anderson Ford. Go to WoodyAndersonFord.com to make your appointment. That's WoodyAndersonFord.com. Let's go over to Atlanta. Beau Morgan, co-host of the morning show over at 92.9 The Game. He's also part of Falcons Radio, and he's lounging around at home on, I think he's got 2 or 3 months worth of paternity leave or something like that. So, pretty good deal working for corporate radio. I think that's what it is, but he joins us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Squidbilly, what's going on, man?
Well, Tom, that's not quite accurate. I mean, I do have, I think I have a few weeks, but I'm back already. I took a week off, and I'm doing radio like it's 2020 from home with my COVID rig set up, back in action. And I actually was at the stadium last night though, so I got a hall pass to go down to the stadium for our draft show and be live at the draft party.
My producer, Joe Hunk, his wife, he and his wife are having their third child on Monday. I tried to get him to have the baby. If you're gonna induce it anyway, I tried to get him to have it on a Friday, and you could take the Friday off, have the baby, have the weekend, bring her home on Sunday, and be back to work Monday, like it was back in the day when I was having kids. But he's like, no, we're having it on Monday. So we negotiated. He was looking for a couple of weeks, back and forth. He ended up, he'll get 8 days. So that's it. And then he'll be back at it. So, but he's like you, they tell you can take a certain amount of time, but you don't want to miss too much time. You want to get back at it.
No, you can't. No, I can't miss much time at all. I was, and honestly, I wanted to get back quickly. I realized Monday morning was I fired up the rig and we started, Mike Johnson started our show here. I was like, dude, I missed this. I needed this so badly. I might have imploded inside if I couldn't have talked about sports other than on Twitter, which is that's this whole nother conversation. But yeah, dude, it's always good to get back. Don't let people forget you. Don't let anyone take your spot. Don't give them an opportunity.
That's a good point. You couldn't break down the Falcons taking 2 edge rushers with the. With Mrs. Squidbilly. I mean, she didn't want to know about you. When you want to break that down with you and about how, they're going to be, hell to pay for the next 10 years now off the corners?
I mean, I probably would have lost her when I said, can you believe the Falcons took a player from Georgia? I mean, the fan base is losing their mind and should have been like, what does that matter? And, should have been like some guy. This is the funniest thing last night is, Tom, people want to find a reason to be mad and people are upset after the Pierce pick. And they're like, oh, he's this and he's that. And I said, yet somehow he managed to do it. Talking about James Pierce. I said, yet somehow he managed to get the most pressures in FBS last season in the SEC. And the guy goes, who cares about the SEC? Well, they drafted 15 players were drafted from the SEC last night. So half the freaking league does, that's what I was like. I'm like, are you guys serious?
Well, listen,
but that might have been her response.
I just said in the open of the show, and go ahead, kill me if you want for this. I just said in the open of the show. I mean, keep in mind, kid's 21 years old. These people are 21 years old. I mean, they're still maturing. They're becoming different, growing up and so on. I said about James Pierce Jr., and this was not a cut at Jalen Walker. Jalen Walker, great player. But if James Pierce Jr. can get some sort of consistency, I mean, I'm 80, 90% consistency. If that kid can get consistency, I'm telling you, 3 years from now, he may be better than Jalen Walker. He may be the better one. I mean, and I know it's not that much of a difference from 15 to 26, but Pierce has an opportunity to be the best of the bunch when it's all said and done.
Well, I don't disagree, but I got a different spin on it. Hear me out. And I do this all the time with Mike Johnson, and he thinks I'm like a 30 for 30 episode. What if I told you that both of them could be all pros, but it's doing different things? When I see Jalen Walker, I think of a guy who, yes, can come off the edge, but he's a 3-down type player. That early Von Miller in his career, where he's running down the sideline in the Super Bowl with a tight end and batting the ball down. that Micah Parsons early where, yeah, he's getting 10 sacks, but he's also in coverage, and he's elite at the run game. Jalen Walker, to me, you can move all over the field. You can use him to spy Jalen Milroe like he did in the 2023 SEC championship game and shut that down. You can use him to track down Arch Manning like he did last year. Or you can use him off the edge, just absolutely obliterating Kelvin Banks Jr., who, oh, by the way, was the 9th overall pick for your arch rival, and he's going to anchor probably their last tackle spot for the next 10 years. But to your point, James Pierce Jr. is, to me, a straight-up fire breather off the edge. He's got powerful hands. He is very quick. He's 6'5", 245, so gaining maybe, 10 pounds. And now the guy is very stout. The only question that I've heard about him is does he want it? What's his motivation? And I think that's the thing you don't hear about Jalen Walker because he played at Georgia. You saw that want to constantly. You know that it was instilled in him because when guys go, look, y'all know I'm not a Georgia guy, UGA guy anyways. I'm an Atlanta guy, but I'm not a UGA fan. But they get something from Kirby Smart. And when guys go there and stay there and become starters and become top 15 draft picks, it's because they bought in not only to what Kirby Smart is selling and what he's teaching, but they also have the elite skills that they did. So I don't think you're wrong. But I take that as you're talking about as a pass rusher solely. And I do think that in the end of the day, James Pierce Jr. has the better pass rusher future. And I think Jalen Walker has the better, jack of all trades while also racking up, 8 to 10 sacks, hopefully, in the ideal world as a Falcons fan.
Well, yeah, certainly I would think that Raheem Morris would take that all day long and a cup of coffee as well. I mean, that would be great for them. Now, are people there losing their mind over the fact that they gave up next year's one? Because to me, okay, you have one this year, one next year, or two this year. If you could do something like this dynamic for your team, I don't understand why it's such a huge problem. I know some people don't like the idea of not having a one next year.
Yeah, there's a few people, but for the most part, it was elation. I mean, there's a lot of people that are pumped. I was in the building obviously when they got to Jalen Walker, and the building was pretty much cleared obviously because the party ended kind of around 10 something as far as alcohol sales and stuff, and people started going home. It's still a Thursday night when the James Pierce stuff came down. I think most people are pumped because they just saw that the biggest issue since John Abraham was here in 2012 seemingly was filled. That void was filled. So I do believe that most people are okay with it. I also think that the more people understand that they never thought Jalen Walker was going to be there at 15. They were drafting James Pierce Jr. at 15 last night.
Yeah.
If the draft plays out like it's supposed to, I got a text yesterday from a very a very reliable person told me, "Hey, this is a name for you," and it was James Pierce. And I said, "Really?" Because I like Walter Nolan, and then I heard some more stuff, and I go, "Oh man, like okay." And so when Jalen Walker was available at 15, I was sitting there thinking, going, in my head, Tom, I said, this is going to be the biggest test ever if Terry Fontenot is true the best player available. Because Jalen Walker is the best player overall. Mm-hmm. Now, doesn't mean that James Pierce can't be the best pass rusher, but the way you go through it with the character assessments and everything that you put in the draft, Jalen Walker was the best player at 15, and they took him. And then they went back in and got their guy. So I think the more people realize that, the more people understand. I said this earlier, too. And I don't mean to be long-winded on the answer, but it's funny how the national media, who have all these sources, yet are wrong 85% of the time, are the ones blowing it up the most. Look, all they gave up. Why? Because you were wrong in what you thought they were going to do. Why? Right. Because you didn't think you didn't know that James Pierce. If all these people knew that James Pierce was their guy, no matter what, they'd have had him at 15. Because none of them had Jalen Walker other than Daniel Jeremiah at 15, and he actually had the Falcons taking Jalen Walker at 15 with him falling there.
Well, Morgan with us from Falcons Radio talking about the Falcons draft 2 first-rounders last night, and part of the deal is they gave up their second-rounder tonight, so they will not have a pick in the second round of the draft. They will, however, make a pick tonight, presumably, It'll be the second last pick of the night. So you're going to have to hang in there all night long to see what the Falcons do at 101. Do you expect them to stay there? Could you see them moving around anymore? And if they do stay there, what is next on the hit parade? I know it's hard to project 60 picks, 70 picks away, but what do you think they're targeting next now that they got the two defensive guys?
I think that there could be a secondary play in there. I'll answer that first part. Do I expect him to stay there? Terry is notorious. Terry Fontenot said in his press conference on Wednesday that he scouted. I'm sure you heard this, but he scouted, and his department had scouted all the GMs and what their tendencies were. And somebody said, "Well, what's your tendency?" He said 75% aggressive. Well, he was aggressive last night, but a lot of his aggressiveness time has been in the second round, moving up for Arnold Ebiketie, moving up for Troy Anderson, moving up for Ruka Rororo. Those are all second round moves that they moved up in there in the second round to get. So the likelihood of them moving up to me is very likely. And I would rather get 3 firm starters in rounds 1, 1, and 2. I say 1, 1, but 2 in the first round and 1 in the second, and then not have any draft picks the rest of the draft. Personally, I would rather do that than to sit back and maybe watch a guy that you really wanted go off the board. And I think they would too. I look at secondary. What do they need? Another safety? Maybe they need another DB. I'm not overly sold on Clark Phillips in the slot. I'm sold on Mike Hughes, maybe moving back into the slot where I thought he was pretty good in 2023, and obviously he was on the outside next year. I'd take a guy like Benjamin Morrison from Notre Dame if I could either find a way or he fell to me. There's also the position of center, Thom. I mean, I at one point thought Munden, the linebacker from Georgia, could be there at 4, but now I don't know because you've kind of got a logjam there with J.D. Bertrand, Caden Ellison, Troy Anderson if he returns, Divine Diablo from Las Vegas, and then to me, Jalen Walker, who can move around and play that position in certain situations depending on who's in the field. If you have Floyd and Paris, or Floyd and Ebiketie, or Paris and Ebiketie, or name it. Maybe Jalen on the edge, but you can move Jalen inside and maybe use him in pass situations as a 3-down linebacker. So there's also, does Jared Wilson fall? I know that there are some teams that were high on him last night that thought about trading up to get him in the first round. Jared Wilson from Georgia, the center position, because they let Drew Dahlman go. And do they want to upgrade and keep Ryan Newsel as maybe just a backup, even though they're comfortable with him starting after he started 8 games last year? Seth McLaughlin, the guy that played at Alabama, then went to Ohio State.
Yeah.
Mike Johnson, who I host with, thinks he doesn't quite fit the system they run here. But when you look at his measurables, he's about the same size. He's a little bit taller and a little bit leaner than Jared Wilson. And Jared Wilson has a little bit more weight. Jared Wilson's a little more athletic and moving to that second level, so maybe they don't like him. But so maybe that they like one of those guys that everyone else is high on, that they think that they could train in their system and have ready after next season. So those are a couple of the positions I look at.
Beau Morgan with us, Falcons Radio. All right, finally, all eyes on the quarterback situation there. Michael Penix takes over late in the year. Kirk Cousins just never looked comfortable. He had that one game where it's like, okay, here it comes. What was it? The Eagles? I forget who it was they played against. And he had a big game, and it looked like he was rounding into form, and it just never really happened. Is anybody even uttering the term quarterback competition, or is this 100% Penix? And if they keep Cousins around, he's a veteran backup. What's your take on what is going to happen there? Is there any chance that Kirk Cousins will still be on this roster when summer camp opens?
I think there's a really good chance. They're dug in, and they have said, first off, Raheem has said that Michael Penix is the starter. He said that at the combine. And then they doubled down. They've doubled down in everyone in the organization, from Arthur Blank to Terry to Raheem. Anybody that has a chance to speak from a front office or a management level has said, we're going to do what's best for the organization. And so I wholeheartedly believe that they have no desire to do anything other than that, and that they have no desire to move quickly. They know that if someone wants Kirk Cousins and they can get anything for him, it's a win. I also am not sold that they don't think that he can come in here. He's already at voluntary workouts, And so it's Kirk Cousins. It's not like he's this locker room issue, right? I mean, he's not like a George Pickens type personality. You know, this is a guy that does everything right. Never. You know, the most trouble we've ever heard about Kirk Cousins has been here in Atlanta, and it's just about him talking too much to the media. And some of that, I wholeheartedly believe, has been fueled by his agent and being told what to say. So I think that they know the best case scenario is that at the worst, wait till June 1st to cut him because of the money. But to me, hold on to him. You never know what's going to happen in training camp. Somebody, you know, tears a knee, blows an arm, an Achilles. You know, that'd be weird for Kirk Cousins to get a starting job off and blow an Achilles. But I think that's definitely a situation. So why not hold on to any leverage you have? Yeah, it's the highest paid backup in the history, but you've strengthened your team through the draft with big needs on defense. Hold on to them. You know what? You never know. I don't even like putting this out there, but the closest team that might need that veteran quarterback in training camp might be you because of an injury. You never know. So yeah. I think that they could hold on to him. And people that don't believe that, Mike and I talked this the other day, they never give you a reason why, Tom. I hear people even in our city on my radio station say, they can't have him here. He can't be here when training camp starts. Well, why? Just can't. What do you mean? Bad for the locker room. Well,
that's not true.
I'm sitting next to a guy that played in the NFL for 5 years. You know what he told me, Tom? He said, we don't care about that. He goes, when I was a player, it was us versus the front office. Not in a bad way, but just you get your money, take care of you, and as long as you don't do what Devondre Campbell did, which was basically quit on the team in the middle of a game, then no, if you don't put them in a bad situation in the middle of a situation like that, they're fine. So, yeah, I think he could be here to start training camp. I just think that they're going to do what's best for them.
I think it depends on the dude, too. I mean, you know, this is a guy in Kirk Cousins that came into the league as a backup right off the bat, knowing that he would be a backup to RG3. He worked his way onto the field, had great years, got the big contract, but you also have a quarterback that's on a rookie deal. So who cares how the money is split in the room, you know, as far as from a management standpoint, you know, being the quote-unquote highest paid backup. Well, you know, that's just the nature of the rookie contract that Penix has. And Penix seems to be a really good dude, too. And, you know, a guy who's got the right mindset. So I think the two guys can work together fine that way. Just wonder whether or not, you know, there is value for Kirk Cousins going outside. I wouldn't be 100% sold on Penix yet anyway. You know, it's just, you know, to say that you don't need to have a veteran backup doesn't seem to make sense. You know, if it's not going well after the first 3 or 4 games, who knows? Kirk Cousins could come in and light it up for the rest of the season. So I think that would be, you know, an excellent opportunity there. Well, congratulations on the baby. The baby will be easy to take care of than Mike is. I know that. You know, less needy. The baby will be less needy than Mike Johnson is, your boy. And I appreciate you as always. And we'll look forward to chatting again down the road. Anytime you know that, and you're absolutely right. It'll definitely be. She's already less needy than Mike Johnson is every morning from 6 to 9 a.m. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to burp Mike or anything like that. So you know, but that'll be fine. All right, man. Appreciate you. Good stuff.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. Take care.
All right, we'll get a break in here. We'll come back, set you up for hour number 2 next on a Football Friday in the Doghouse.
You're listening to the Tom Abraham Show with Joe Hunk on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. AI-powered betting models to help you make sharper picks during March Madness. Free 7-day trial available now at rhythm.com. That's RITHMM.com.
Atlanta Braves today send out Chris Sale, $1.20 road favorite against Zach Gallen of the Diamondbacks, plus 100, 8.5 under the total. Braves coming off a 4-1 win over the St. Louis Cardinals on getaway day in Atlanta. The NASCAR Xfinity Series racing tomorrow at Talladega, the Ag Pro 300, Austin Hill plus 280, Jesse Love plus 550, Eric Almirola 11-1, while Sheldon Creed, Justin Allgaier, and Connor Zillich are all 12-1. On Sunday, the Jack Links 500 Cup race at Talladega, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, all at 11-1 to win it. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Have you discovered Good Company Cafe? The place for breakfast, brunch, lunch, and so much more. Enjoy brunch all day and pair with one of our many seasonal refreshing drinks, including alcoholic and non-alcoholic options. Choose inside or outside on our gorgeous, spacious, dog-friendly patio. And have some fun with friends playing yard games in the courtyard. See catering, to-go options, and lots more at goodcompany-cafe.com. Good Company Cafe, 7500 South Memorial Parkway.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Where's the best place for sports? What about the best place for wings? If you answered Jefferson's or both, you're right. Jefferson's is also a great place for value. Every Monday, kids eat free with the purchase of an adult meal, and teachers bring your teacher ID, and you eat free every first Tuesday of the month up to $15. At Newmarket, Jefferson's will be opening a new location at 2190 County Road 65 very soon. Jefferson's, best place for sports, best place for wings. Hampton Cove, and soon in Newmarket.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful statement that I heard from Coach Gene Stallings years ago when he talked about big games and little games. He said he didn't like that comparison. He says, because try losing one of those little games, and if you ever do, it ends up being the biggest game all year long. Well, it's the same thing with real estate closings. Every game, every closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title, because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal, and we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beebs likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
Tom Abraham back from my friend Ross Roberts at Valley Equipment Rental. It's springtime, so let's get that garden tilled with a tiller from Valley Equipment. And while you're at it, snag a power washer for the house and the driveway. And if you're putting in a sprinkler system, they have the small trencher that you need. And you can even rent a Skag zero-turn mower and much more to get your property in shape. Valley Equipment, not just for the contractor, but the homeowner as well. 2 locations on the North and South Parkway. Valley Equipment Rental. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
From Coleman to Fayetteville and all points in between.
Son, pull the hammer back. Smokey's coming at you in a plain white wrapper.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
And welcome back to Tom Abraham Show. Segment of the show is brought to you by Owen Home Appliance Center. This spring, you bloom into savings at Owen Home Appliance Center. They got a new shipment of scratch and dent items at the Somerville location, like a side-by-side refrigerator with water and ice at $6.99, or head to the highly interactive location in Lacey Springs to get the latest in appliance tech. You can pick up a 21 cubic foot upright frost-free freezer for just $7.99 at Owen Home Appliance Center. Quality products, quality pricing, quality service, only at Owen Home Appliance Center. And John, you were down there to Owen Home Appliance Center to pick up that beautiful pizza oven that we gave away at the golf tournament. I know you've been in there before, but What a cool showroom that is, isn't it?
Oh, it's always nice. And, they're always updating it. So there's always something new every time you stop by. So I got the tour yet again. I got to see the built-in granite oven. I mean, the wine drawers. I mean, all of that stuff is
cool.
just so bizarre in a good way.
Did your ears perk up when Squidbilly dropped the John Abraham comment in Atlanta?
Oh, it always
like, wait
does.
a minute.
It always does. I love
I
that.
remember that guy.
It's the closest I'll get to the NFL.
There you go. All right, hour number 1 is in the hopper. Hour number 2 starts with the open line, so jump on in if you want. And then Ken Mastrole talks quarterbacks in hour number 2 as well, right here on Football Friday in the Thom Abraham Show.
Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to come test drive any one of our over 100 F-150s. From rock-solid, dependable work trucks to our state-of-the-art Platinum Series, we've got an F-150 for you. Test drive one today, and you'll understand why the F-150 is the best-selling truck in America, going on 48 years in a row. Just as successful offenses and defenses are built on teamwork, Woody Anderson Ford is powered by our people. Our sales and service teams are well-trained to save you time and money. And because we want your business again and again, no one will work harder to earn it. Our mobile service teams come to your home or business for oil changes, brake work, tire rotations, and more. And the great thing is you don't pay extra for it. We come to you with mobile service at no extra charge. Proud to be local, family-owned, and at your service for over 62 years. Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation. But did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where AFS comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at afsrepair.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Would you call a plumber for a root canal? The same goes.
This is Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. The wait continues for former Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders. He was not picked last night during the opening round of the NFL draft, so he will wait for his name to be called tonight. ESPN NFL draft analyst Mel Kiper Jr. listing Sanders as the best available prospect heading into rounds 2 and 3. 6 Eastern ESPN Radio, 7 Eastern ESPN2 and ABC. Cleveland has the first pick in round 2. Grizzlies point guard John Morant will be evaluated further today after suffering a hip injury during last night's loss to the Thunder in Game 3 of that NBA first-round playoff series. Was spotted on crutches in the fourth quarter. He is uncertain for tomorrow's potential elimination game. Reigning NBA champion Celtics listing small forward Jason Tatum as doubtful Game 3 against the Magic tonight with a bone bruise in his right wrist. 7 Eastern ESPN. Boston has a 2-0 lead.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing. We have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates. Residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, It's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you. So settle in and get your bark on. Now live, here he is, the big dog, Thom Abraham.
How you doing? Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like Dale McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, you know what that means. It means that it is Football Friday in the doghouse. I am Thom Abraham. Football Friday, football music all throughout the show as well. Glad that you are joining us. It is the NFL draft version of Football Friday. First round is in the books. Not really talking about a great night in the NBA playoffs last night. Not really talking about a great night in the NHL playoffs last night. It's pretty much all about the draft and what happened yesterday. Of course, the Titans did what everyone expected. It took Cam Ward right off of the top. Now the next question will be, what number will he get? And he is actually being introduced in Nashville as we speak. The press conference taking place now. And so we'll see how all of that works out with Cam Ward. Of course, then the Browns made a move out of the 2-hole, moved down to number 5, picked up some serious draft capital, getting the Jags 2 and 4 this year, and they're 1 next year. And I'm telling you right now, I bet the Jags number 1 pick next year in 2026 will be higher than the Browns number 1 pick next year in 2026. The Falcons loading up on edge rushers as well. And the legendary Shedeur Sanders remains in his basement with his daddy. Because the Giants jumped the gun. They had to move up, man. They had to get Jackson Dart. I mean, we can't wait anymore. We can't wait to the top of the second round. We need Jackson Dart. We need him now. And they went ahead and made that move and picked up Jackson Dart to the surprise of some, but not all. Some, but not all. More on Shedeur in a moment, but we welcome in a new audience listening to the show in Nashville on 95.9 and in Murfreesboro on 107.9 on 560 AM, and that's all WNSR in the Music City. Our flagship station, of course, is 97.7 The Zone in Huntsville, and we are on WCDT in Winchester at 1340 AM and 106.9 FM. There, we welcome those of you that are watching on the X and the Facebook and the YouTube as well. Phone lines are open at 256-576-4977. And you can also text the show at 7329-TA-SHOW, 732-982-7469 will get you into the show. My personal X feed is at Thom Abraham Show. I come to you once again from Anderson, South Carolina, where earlier today I had duties with the Bassmaster Live Television doing the halftime show. That's what it is, okay? It's a halftime show, all right? It's a halftime show. And, the TV coverage of the Whataburger Bassmaster Elite at Lake Hartwell. And a very interesting tournament. Beautiful, beautiful lake and a really cool downtown area here. I'm done, by the way, for TV coverage. You won't see me tomorrow or Sunday on the coverage. We'll be heading back tomorrow to Winchester, Tennessee. And it's been great, though, to be here to this point in time. Coming up in the next segment of the show, quarterback guru Ken Mastrole from the Mastrole Passing Academy will join us. We'll get his thoughts on Cam Ward. How much of a risk is it? It's always a risk. It's always a risk. We know the quarterbacks in the first round, 50-50. That's pretty much it. generally the number one guy overall. Generally pretty good. Generally pretty good. Cam Ward is the poster child for the transfer portal. He's the first transfer portal player to go number one overall in the NFL draft. Mixing the show today is Baby Abe, my youngest son, John Abraham. Sometimes acts like my oldest son, but he's my youngest son, John Abraham. And John, this is the first time, the first of many probably, and you know it's just going to embolden many young players that are in college. They're going to say, look, that kid was a 0-star out of high school. He went to Incarnate Word for 2 years. He got in the transfer portal, transferred up into Washington State, was going to go in the NFL draft last year, decided not to go in the NFL draft last year. Let me transfer to Miami. If he's in the transfer portal last year, or if he's in the draft last year, somewhere in the first round, maybe not. I don't know that he gets picked before Bo Nix got picked. If he was just out of Washington State, probably a second or third rounder. And then he goes to Miami, lights the world on fire. 1 year at Miami and coming out of the transfer portal. And now, boom, the number one pick overall. And you know how kids are. They're going to look at that and they're going to say, I can do the same thing.
Yeah. And I love it, dude. Whenever you look at a guy that has that underdog story, it just shows the kids that it's like you could go wherever you want. You could go to a Lindsey Wilson. You could go to an Alabama Montgomery, and you could find success as long as you utilize the people around you in the transfer portal the way it's intended. And this is what I love about it. Now, then you have other guys like TJ Finley, who has just entered into the transfer portal.
No, he has not.
Yes.
Oh, get out of here. Is this going to be a 6th or 7th school?
I believe
if he gets picked up.
6th, because he went to Texas State. He was at LSU. He was at Auburn. He was at Western Kentucky, then Tulane, and now he's heading to his 6th school. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Gosh.
If you can't find a spot, I mean, you just keep moving until it sticks. But
I don't like it. I mean, you could say you think it's great. I think it's okay to make I think you should get one free transfer, but I think that there's something to be said for commitment. I want a guy to be committed.
Yeah.
All right. I think that a guy, when you go to a school and, you don't get that starting job right off the bat, you stay there, you fight, you battle, maybe you make one transfer. If the coaches leave, I think there should be a 2-week window when a kid can transfer.
Yeah.
If his coach left, his position coach that recruited him, or the head coach leaves, I think they should have an open window of 2 weeks to where they can make the decision and go ahead and transfer out. Outside of that, I think they have to have some sort of commitment. I think when you go to a school, you got to give me a 2-year commitment at least. I don't know how you coach this mess. There's constantly, this constant transfer deal. I mean, look what happened with Tennessee, Joey Aguilar, and he goes from Appalachia State, he goes to UCLA. He barely moistens a jock over there in the weight room, and they get Nico, and now he's going to transfer. Now he transfers to Tennessee. I mean, what the heck is that?
Well,
that doesn't make any sense.
Worse off, you had a guy like Madden Iamaleava who was going to get a shot to not just start, but just be able to work towards that. Because, of course, Taylon Green is there. He knew he didn't have a starting position. And then when he sees his brother go out west, that kind of takes him off to go out west. And then before he even plays a snap, he's already out of the Arkansas Red, and he's already.
And they might sue. They might sue. They're like, look, we gave you cake. We gave you cake. Well, how do you sue? There's no contract. He's breach of contract. What contract? It's not with the school. If anybody who would sue him, whoever it was in the NIL that gave him the deal. I mean, that's the craziness of this. This thing was supposed to be simple. It was supposed to be we give the kid rights to use his name, image, and likeness to make some money. In other words, it's not illegal anymore for Johnny Manziel to sign helmets and get $7,500 in the hotel room. It's not illegal for a guy to go and work a camp and get paid to work a camp, or go to a car dealership and work at the car dealership and do appearances and things like that and get paid a little bit. It's not illegal anymore for the wide receiver years ago from Colorado who went and did a calendar for the U.S. skiing and lost eligibility because he was on a calendar to raise money for U.S. skiing. All of those things, that's name, image, likeness. All of us, I mean, within 15 minutes, it became, we'll pay you, you come to this school. All right, if you go to this school, you go to Miami, everybody on Miami who went to Miami got $500 a month or $1,000 a month or whatever from whoever the backer was there. That's not what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be we're going to let the kids make money with their name, image, and likeness. The first one I remember was Bo Nix with Milo T. That's what, the night that it went live at midnight, a post went down, and it was Bo Nix promoting Milo's Sweet Tea. And that was, okay, that's name, image, and likeness. And it turned into contracts and all this stuff. So who is suing? Because who's watching that case, the Madden case, is Tennessee. Are they going to sue? Are they going to sue Nico for quitting and breach of contract? What contract?
Yeah. It's definitely interesting. And whenever you bring up the originals of the NIL, there's a few names that come to mind. One of them, Kool-Aid McKinstry, of course, with Kool-Aid. The other one, DeColdis Crawford, with that one heating and air company that, he didn't end up in Nebraska by the end of it. He's already on to his third school as well.
What did they up the money to for NCAA? I remember the story, and I don't remember following it. I know that last year every kid that was in the game got $600. They upped the money this year, but I don't know what they're getting now. Are they getting $1,000 per kid? Because to me that was the kind of things that's a way to funnel money to the kids.
So
is that you could? Now I thought it was way too low, but
for
but
the amount of money that game makes,
Oh my gosh.
They raised it to $1,500, so a little bit more.
$1,500, so they're over twice.
Yeah,
over twice the amount. So now every kid that's in the game gets $1,500. It's still too low, but I mean, who knows what kind of the billions of dollars that were poured into that game by people like, I don't know, you and others like that that play the video games. I thought that the kids should always get. I always thought the kids should get a piece of the money from the jersey sales, merchandise sales, and things like that. When a kid buys a number 15 Florida Gator jersey back in the day, what's he doing? He's buying a Tebow jersey, right? He's buying a Tebow jersey. Yeah, it doesn't have Tebow on the back of it. He's buying a Tebow jersey. Yeah. Tebow should get a cut of that. Whatever it is. And when a kid buys everything, just like in the NFL properties, 2% of everything that is bought through NFL properties goes into the hopper. I think it's 3%. That goes into a hopper that's split amongst every player in the NFLPA and coach equally. They all get a piece of that. Back in the day when I was coaching back 100 years ago, I remember the tight ends coach at the New York Jets, and Paul Alexander was his name. And at that time, he was the lowest ranking coach at the Jets. He and I played against each other in high school. And Paul, now we're talking about 1991, 1992, somewhere in there, early 90s. Paul was making $70,000 a year as the assistant tight ends coach for the New York Jets. And his salary was $70,000, right? He's like, Tom, my NFL properties check is $90,000. So I'm making $160,000. I make $70,000 from the team. I make $90,000 from NFL properties. And it was for every coach. The head coach at the time was Bruce Coslett. He was making $1.5 million, $2 million a year. He also got $90,000 from NFL properties. So that's the way it works with baseball and all these other sports that have these merchandising deals. Well, I thought the college kids should share in that. All right, when somebody goes to the game and they're buying a hat or they're buying a jersey or they're buying gear, they're buying the gear because of the product that's on the field. The kids should get a piece of that cake.
Yeah.
Doesn't that make sense?
And it would have been a sizable amount. It wouldn't have been too much. It wouldn't have been too little. And if you play better and if you're the more popular player, you're going to get a piece. And it's going to be a pretty good one. Like for Shedeur Sanders, of course, he would have gotten a huge piece because of his name and also the way that he was able to play at Colorado. And that is another story of a guy who started at a small school, even though he wasn't small ranked. I mean, look at Travis Hunter. Everybody was going crazy whenever he signed with an HBCU coming out of high school as the top prospect. But again, these are guys that started at small schools, even though some of them didn't have to. And then they transferred into still small schools, but of course, in the group of 4, group of 5 at the time.
Deion Sanders and I now have something in common. Neither of our sons got drafted last night in the first round.
Come on.
So, I'm just saying.
Look,
Mel Kiper all over Shedeur Sanders' jock. Mel Kiper started with the first pick He said he thought the Titans should take Shedeur Sanders instead of Cam Ward. He really did. He thought that Shedeur Sanders came through in the clutch. He did all of these things. He couldn't believe that the Browns didn't take him at 5. They're like, well, yeah, they're moving down 3, but they're going to be able to take Shedeur Sanders at 5. No, they're not. Well, he's the perfect fit for the New Orleans Saints at 9. Apparently, no, he's not. Yeah, but there's no way he slides past the Steelers at 21. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Well, the Giants just traded back into the first round. They must be going after Shedeur Sanders. No, they're not. They want Jackson Dart. And a lot of people are talking about bad interviews. They're talking about bad juju. This kid is all about the sizzle and not the steak. And this is what they're saying. Now, the kid did perform. I mean, he did perform, and he performed in the clutch, but he did hold on to the ball a little too long. He did take an awful lot of sacks. There was some questions about the interviews. It was questions about his not being, quote-unquote, professional enough. I know that bothers some people. I know some people are playing the race card here and saying that, why Jackson Dart? Jackson Dart was nowhere near as good as Shedeur Sanders and so on and so forth. Oh, sure, take the blonde-haired, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed kid over Shedeur Sanders because you don't like the style and so on and so forth. Well, I think it was more than that. The interviews are important, and we're going to talk about that with Ken Mastrole of the Mastrole QB Academy. He is coming up next. As usual, last night, the SEC dominating things. 15 of the 32 picks went to the SEC. Big Ten had 11. Good job by the Big Ten there. ACC 2, Big 12 2, and a couple from the Group of 5, and that was it. All right, when we return, Ken Mastrole will join us from the Mastrole Passing Academy. We'll get his take on Cam Ward and Jackson Dart and Shedeur Sanders and some of these other quarterbacks that are bound to get picked as well, including Jalen Milroe. And who knows if he slips past the Raiders, who will pick 5th tonight in the second round. More in a moment. It's Football Friday on the Thom Abraham Show.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show with Joe Hunk on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. AI-powered betting models to help you make sharper picks during March Madness. Free 7-day trial available now at rhythm.com. That's RITHMM.com.
Atlanta Braves today send out Chris Sale, the $1.20 road favorite against Zach Gallen of the Diamondbacks, plus 100, 8.5 under the total. Braves coming off a 4-1 win over the St. Louis Cardinals on getaway day in Atlanta. The NASCAR Xfinity Series racing tomorrow at Talladega, the Ag Pro 300, Austin Hill plus 280, Jesse Love plus 550, Eric Almirola 11-1, while Sheldon Creed, Justin Allgaier, and Connor Zillich are all 12-1. On Sunday, the Jack Links 500 Cup race at Talladega, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, all at 11-1 to win it. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Would you call a plumber for a root canal? The same goes for selling your timberland or farm. Choose someone who understands your property and can help you on the front end so you can capitalize on the back end. I am Beau Butler with Southland Realty and Auction. As a guide, I have put many hunters in position to take a shot. It's time for you to take your shot. Let's talk about putting you in position to sell your property. Call me at 256-609-0512. Remember, Beau knows land.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
But you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
You've got to experience Toyota-thon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyota-thon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Friday is going to be very similar to every other day this week. A mostly cloudy, overcast sky. Temperatures climbing somewhere into the mid-70s with scattered showers and thunderstorms. Holding on to the opportunity for rain as we head into the overnight, early into your Saturday morning. Temperatures only drop into the low and mid-60s. A mostly cloudy, overcast sky on Saturday afternoon. Much the same. Scattered showers and thunderstorms with temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 70s. Dropping into the mid-50s as we head into the overnight. Sunday, very much so, going to be rinse and repeat. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
And welcome back to Tom Abraham Show. Football Friday in the Doghouse, draft style. Second round will get started tonight. And there should be a lot of activity right off the top here in the second round of the draft. And, of course, the Cleveland Browns are on the clock as we speak. And then it'll be the Houston Texans, and then the Titans go. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Shedeur Sanders now at this particular point in time. Because if the Browns, if they think they want him, probably should snag him at 33. Probably should go ahead and take him as the first pick in the second round. If they wait, if they think, well, you know, we can snag one of these other guys and go in a different direction and go with Will Johnson or Trevion Henderson or somebody like that, well, then the next thing you know, you end up somebody will jump in front, you know, maybe make a deal with the Titans. You know, the Titans are going to shop that pick possibly at 35, third pick in this second round. And if anybody's interested in jumping in front of Cleveland and get the guy they want to get, like the Raiders who are right behind Cleveland, I would think that the Titans would entertain that. John, we are efforting Ken Mastrole right now. And I'm still trying to get him. Okay, all right. So we're getting Ken Mastrole from the Mastrole Passing Academy. He's got a number of his clients that are in this draft as well. That'll get drafted most likely on Saturday. Maybe one that'll go today. We'll see how that works out, but we'll get his take on these quarterbacks. And, you know, is it fair to, you know, hold some of the things that went on in interviews and so on against Shedeur Sanders? You know, I know that in USA Today, Michael Sykes writing a story today saying that he personally is bothered by what he is hearing about why teams are passing on Shedeur Sanders and why he fell out of the first round. This anonymous sources talk about how he bombed the interview process over the last couple of weeks and how he's not professional enough with the teams through the process and how arrogant he is. He says, Sykes says, not a single word of any of that sits well with me. We all know how Shedeur Sanders can be. This is the same dude who flashed a $70,000 watch to fans before a game. Yes, he is brash. He is arrogant. He is confident. He is Deion Sanders' son. What do you expect that comes with the territory? He's not Deion Sanders. He doesn't have the talent that Deion Sanders has. He's not. He doesn't. He doesn't. But anyway, Sykes goes on to write, he was also pretty good at Colorado, so I think he's earned some leeway there. Maybe some of that is a little too much for you. That's fine. I can understand that. What I can't understand are anonymous quotes about interviews with Sanders impacting people's perceptions of him. It's completely possible that he doesn't interview well. That's fine. Some people are bad at interviews. Considering how intrusive, awkward, and sabotaging we've seen pre-draft interviews be in the past, that's not necessarily the most surprising thing in the world. Well, why do they do the interviews then? Why do they do the interviews? He says, furthermore, a bad interview shouldn't be enough to tank someone's draft stock. Well, why not? Why wouldn't it be? Isn't that part of the process? So you're telling me that you should go with solely on what you saw in film in college games against an inferior conference and inferior opponents in group of 5 conferences? Why shouldn't the interview process have something to do with whether or not you think the guy's a good fit for your team or whether he can perform for you? I mean, I've been interviewing people all my life for jobs. When they come in, if they are terrible in the interview room, I sometimes make the decision that, look, it's a nice looking resume, but after talking to this person, literally talking to the person, and in the case of these guys, putting them maybe on a chalkboard or on the whiteboard and say, show me this or show me that, you make a determination as to whether or not you think that person can perform at the next level or perform for you. A bad interview shouldn't be enough to tank someone's draft stock. Why not? Why do they do it? What's the point of even having an interview? And we're not saying that that's the only reason. But while you watched that stuff last night, and they kept showing the special set that they built in Deion's basement or in Shedeur's basement for all the legendary stuff and the money symbols and, the chains and the graffiti and legendary. Well, he's not legendary. Daddy's legendary. He's not legendary. He's 13-12 quarterback. Well, he retired his number. I gave you a list of guys whose numbers aren't retired. I mean, you got to be kidding me. Not buying it. Not buying it. Now, that doesn't mean that he can't, have a successful career. I'm not saying that either. I have great respect for Mel Kiper. Mel Kiper's been looking at this stuff for 45 years. So I think Mel Kiper has a pretty good read on these things. Mel Kiper is not the type that gets on, like other media members that maybe just get in there and just kind of, blow people up for no particular reason. Mel Kiper sets the bar. He doesn't listen to others. He doesn't just sit there and because somebody else said something, Mel Kiper makes his own decisions. Started out when he started making out his Bible that was the size of a phone book with analysis of all of the players in the draft. So I think that Mel Kiper's pretty good at what he's saying. And Mel Kiper thinks that Shedeur Sanders was the number 1 player in the draft. But having said that, I could see why there would be hesitation. And I also see where maybe to a certain extent, some people are not real thrilled with the fact that he is Deion's son and that you're bringing the circus to town. I mean, you remember, after Tim Tebow was released by the Denver Broncos, and remember the Jets brought him in, and they brought the circus to town, and Tebow had those interviews, and it was New York City and everything else, and it's like it can be overwhelming. And that was just Tebow. And it was the opposite. It was Tebow being a good guy. It wasn't about Tebow's family. It wasn't about his father. It was that he was Tim Tebow. And I think that there was some prejudice involved there. Too much of a holy roller. Too much, we can't have it. He's just too big a presence. Too big a presence. Not good enough to overcome the circus that you bring to town when you bring him in. And then the Jags brought him in. He was going to try and be a tight end. Not worth the effort. Now, if Tim Tebow was that good in the NFL, then they'd have figured out a way to overcome it. But they didn't feel like he was good enough to overcome that, bringing the circus to town. Colin Kaepernick had a few good years as a quarterback. Now, his last year, with the knee thing and everything else, he was not very good. He wasn't awful, but they didn't win any games. He was like, 1-12 or 3-13 or something. He was not very good. But the reality is, no one was going to bring that guy in. No one was going to bring the quarterback in that was taking a knee during the national anthem. And I'm not saying that's who Shedeur Sanders is. Now, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that the NFL is resistant to sideshow stuff. Whoever brought in Colin Kaepernick was going to be bringing the circus to town. Whoever brought in Tim Tebow was going to be bringing a circus to town. And if you bring in Deion Sanders, you're bringing a circus to town. And I'll tell you this right now. If you want some sizzle, if you want some conversation, if you want some talk, let's take the Cleveland Browns because they're on the clock. How many primetime games do you think the Browns have next year? When that schedule comes out on May 14th, all right, and the Browns and they drafted Mason Graham, fine defensive tackle out of Michigan. Could be a real solid player for the next 10 years. How many primetime games do you think Cleveland will get? Everybody's supposed to have one, so they'll have, one. If the Browns draft Shedeur Sanders, I guarantee you it's worth 2 additional primetime games. Stop me if I'm lying, John. If they bring in if they draft Shedeur Sanders, all of a sudden that becomes a topic. Even though Joe Flacco likely will be the starting quarterback or Kenny Pickett, but if the Browns bring in Shedeur Sanders, their first preseason game is going to be on national TV because people want to see Shedeur Sanders.
No doubt. And that's going to get to the point where we saw, I believe, a few years back when Baker Mayfield, whenever he came in and he finally got the start, it was against the Jets, and he took them to win. And that was the first primetime game that he was a part of. And then moving forward, people wanted to see more of him. It was the same as Johnny Manziel. It's happened before to where you get a guy.
I think with Johnny, it happened even more than with Baker. I think when Johnny was drafted by them, I think that the Browns gained some primetime games. I don't know as much with Baker, but I think definitely with Johnny Manziel.
Well, that's just what people are hoping is for those primetime games to be the ones where they get to see the guy step into the limelight, be that starter, be able to come back and win a game. That's what people want whenever Shedeur is a backup quarterback on the Cleveland Browns or a team that just isn't that good, that normally wouldn't get too many eyes on them. But that's what it's all about. And I want to know, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because you get more eyes on the team, but are they going to look at your team and remember terrible games, or are they going to remember, it's Sanders time?
Well, that's what I was just going to say. You're on to something there. It'll be people tuning in to see Deion's kid and to see if he's amazing. But I think there'll be even a higher percentage of people tuning in to see him crash and burn. That's what they're going to be looking for. Because there's more negative Nellies out there than there is anything else. So I think that the haters overrun the people that are positive. I think that what would happen is, they would get a lot of attention, but they would get attention in terms of people wanting to see him crash and burn. I think that's what it is. All right, speaking of crashing and burning, I'm not sure why we're not getting Kenny. He was very excited about coming on the show, but we'll get a break in here. And when we come back, you know what could be happening, John? And this is a new phenomenon This is a new phenomenon.
What's that?
In sports talk radio or in now that they've got these cell phones that if they don't recognize the number, that doesn't ring. It happens to me all the time when I'm on other people's shows. And what happens is that they call and it doesn't ring. And so you never hear it. You don't know that it happened. It's you know what I mean? It's a unrecognized number or whatever they call that thing. And that's happening more and more sometimes with our guests. He answered my call earlier because we're boys and my name came up. I'm in his phone book. But now when you call from the station,
gotcha.
that you know what I mean? That number might not be popping.
I feel like he would. Well, you got now a lot of just the listeners calling in, so I'll get.
Well,
to
that could be him.
No,
that could be Kenny.
It's not.
All right. Tell you what. Let's let me get Badger Larry in here quick first, and then we'll get the break in there and see if we can't come back with Kenny. Badger Larry, welcome to the show. How are you?
Doing good, Tommy. How about yourself?
I am
enjoying
fantastic.
South Carolina.
Love South Carolina. Love Tennessee. Love Alabama. Love South Carolina too.
Well, that's good. Well, I love the way my home state put on a hell of a show last night. I'm pretty proud of the whole state for showing up and doing it upright.
I showed my wife. I said, take a look at this. And it was when they did the first aerial shot. And I said, take a look at this. Look at the number of people that are there to see kids get drafted into the NFL. And they said 250,000. Then they said 150,000. I don't know how many there were, but between that stage and the stadium had people in it too. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, can you imagine going to one of those things and just standing in the middle of a crowd of 200,000 people to see some kid come out on the stage and get his name called? I can't imagine.
It's a tailgate. It's a tailgate party, though. It is. Up there, everything's a party. So they even had the guy that does the dive bar review thing. They brought him in to set up one big one right there on the grounds there. They had this huge dive bar for people to go hang out in and that kind of thing. So they definitely did it up right. And I also
love your pick. I mean, I really love your pick too. I mean, it's about time. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is like, it's about time you draft a receiver. Oh, that's right. Now I'm not the quarterback there anymore. Getting Matthew Golden, the kid out of Texas, really, really good pickup, I think.
Well, Bama Brad sent a text early on asking me who I wanted the Packers to pick, and that's who I had hours before the thing was picked. So
oh, really?
That's who I thought they'd pick. So I was glad to see. I said, hopefully he'll drop this far and he'd still be available, and he was. So, but how about the start of the night with Clay Matthews? Was that classic or not?
Oh, that was fantastic. Clay Matthews, if you missed it, Clay Matthews says, I got a letter here. He says, I got a letter here from the president. And the president, let me open it up. He opens it up and he says, the Bears still suck. That's outstanding. That was great.
Oh, that was.
Especially
for anybody from up there. I mean, that's been a phrase for, I can't tell you, ever since I can remember.
Yeah.
You end your sentences. Oh, by the way, the Bears still suck. You know what I mean?
And I have two son-in-laws that are Bears fans that are from up that way, and they're huge Bears fans, and they know I like the Packers. And anytime they're over my house, it always seems to be a Bears-Packers game, and they go nuts. They just they say the same thing. They just say the Packers suck. And sometimes they say the Bears suck too, because the Bears do suck.
Well,
Brad's
Bears fan too, so.
All right, Brad, roll Tide, and the Bears suck. I just want to tell you that. All right, man. Appreciate you. Good stuff. All right, let's get a break. We do have Kenny Mastrole, our quarterback guru, and he will join us next when we return from this short break. It's the Thom Abraham Show. Back with more in a moment.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show with Joe Hunk on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up. By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Organizations using Salesforce know how powerful the platform is and how much time, money, and headaches it saves if it's set up right and you know how to use it. Let's face it, Salesforce is complicated and time-consuming to figure out, and a lot can go wrong now and down the road without expert help. That's why most Salesforce users work with an implementation partner like Higher Echelon, so they get the absolute most out of their Salesforce investment. Higher Echelon is a 5-star Salesforce consulting partner who won Salesforce Military Hiring Partner of the Year. President Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets. He puts that experience to good use at Higher Echelon, where they pride themselves on hiring veterans. Look, not all Salesforce partners are the same. Don't put your company at risk by going with an inferior partner. Higher Echelon is the trusted partner you can count on to get you up and running and seeing returns on your Salesforce investment in a fraction of the time it would take if you go it alone. Go to higherechelon.com. That's HIGHERECHELON.com to learn more. Go higher and go Army.
Tom Luganbill here from my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Where's the best place for sports? What about the best place for wings? If you answered Jefferson's for both, you're right. Jefferson's is also a great place for value. Every Monday, kids eat free with the purchase of an adult meal, and teachers bring your teacher ID and you eat free every first Tuesday of the month up to $15. And Newmarket, Jefferson's will be opening a new location at 2190 County Road 65 very soon. Jefferson's, best place for sports, best place for wings. Hampton Cove, and soon in Newmarket.
There is power in caring when it is put into action. Each year, our bankers serve on nonprofit boards, support our local educators, and volunteer with our hometown food bank. I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryan Bank, and community service is just not a line item in our mission statement. It's who we are. Because after all, Alabama is our home too. That kind of commitment to community might not be what you would expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give us a call or stop by one of our 2 offices in the Huntsville area and experience unbeatable service and legendary results.
Bryan Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC.
Forgiveness. Wow, what a word. What a gift. All of us have done things in our lives that we regret. All of us have done things that are disobedient. All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Thank God for his forgiveness. Thank God that he separates our sins as far as the east is from the west and remembers them no more. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor at Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. Check us out at cpcfamily.org.
I'm here with Thomas from Talent Heating and Air. With the temperatures going up and temperatures going down right now, now is a good time to get your heating and air system looked at. Thomas, when somebody calls, you guys answer.
That's right. The phones are staffed by us. They're manned 24/7. We're ready to come out and take care of you that day.
How do they give you guys a call?
You give us a call at 256-503-4490.
And you can find you guys on the World Wide Web at
talenthvac.com.
And now is a good time to do this because you guys are offering a special deal.
That's right. We're doing $49 tune-ups this spring. We're also doing free second opinions. We offer that year-round. Somebody comes out, they say you got a bad compressor, a leaking refrigerant. Give us a call, see if we can save you some money.
Thomas from Talent Heating and Air. Thomas, one more time, that phone number.
256-503-4490. 503-4490.
AL certain number 21014.
Hold your block until the whistle blows.
From SEC Media Days to the National Championship Game.
This was a great team win.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Man, welcome back. Tom Abraham Show. And now we are joined by the highly sought after, very busy Ken Mastrole from the Mastrole Passing Academy in Florida. And he joins us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Kenny, welcome in, my friend. How are you?
Hey, I almost dropped the ball on you, and I appreciate you having me on. So,
well, I'm glad that's a metaphor for this draft, I guess. I'm glad you didn't drop the ball on me on that deal. That's for sure. And
you know what's getting huge real quick is I'm out. I was out training a guy who is going for the Olympics from Canada, Team Canada, for flag football. Believe it or not, now. So it is becoming obviously an Olympic sport, and it is becoming big. And that's got to be with that.
That's going to be great for the Mastrole Passing Academy because now you got all these more guys that are out there to quarterbacks, and that's obviously a pure passing deal. So more people than ever are trying to become quarterbacks. Now that you got to, because you know what's next. The NFL is all over this flag football league they're talking about starting, and there's going to be flag football teams. NFL owners are buying franchises for flag football, and there's soon, Kenny, you'll be training a woman. You'll be training a woman that plays women's flag football. It's going to happen. You're going to have to teach a woman how to throw a football.
You never know. It could be the first pick in the 2028 NFL draft. So we'll see. You never know.
Maybe in the NFL flag draft, but let's not get too crazy.
Let's not get carried away.
Well, like Shadur Sanders, there wasn't one picked in the first round last night.
No.
There's so many of these, so many jokes just they write themselves. It's like me and Dion have something in common. Neither of our sons were drafted last night. So, but that's where we're at. All right. Let's start at the top for our listeners in Nashville. Cam Ward, just a dude from, Incarnate Word, 2 years there, Washington State, first transfer portal quarterback to get picked number 1 overall in the NFL draft. We're going to see more and more of this now. Goes to Miami, has a wonderful year. Big, sturdy kid. Your thoughts on the chances that he has of being successful? And by successful, I mean a playoff winning quarterback. Doesn't have to be a Hall of Famer, but a serviceable, get to the second contract, playoff winning type quarterback for the Titans. What's your thought?
Yeah, I think so. Great pick. Obviously, Callahan, phenomenal coach, great staff. Brought one of my guys in, Brandon Allen, who trained for the draft. It's been in the league for quite a bit, maybe helping him, take on that transition of helping him with the playbook stuff, the protections. That's probably going to be the biggest thing. But I thought that was a fantastic pick. I mean, when you look at the guy, you got to look beyond all the fun, great parts that are like the sexy parts, right? Like all the throws and everything, and just get into like the core of the player. And I just think from a character standpoint, I mean, look how humble that guy is. He's ready to go to work. The effort that he puts in, I just think he's going to make that locker room day one, like galvanize, start galvanizing that locker room and the people that they're going to bring, and then lean. He'll know his place. He's a rookie. He's going to make his mistakes, but I think it's an exceptional pick. I mean, obviously the arm talent's there. You're going to have to hone in and rein in on some of those, that little bit of like that, ad lib type stuff where it can cause you a little bit of problems, and you don't want to turn the ball over in the league, traditionally, statistics show. But I just think it's a great pick. I mean, it's a great pick for that team, for that franchise, and for the future. I definitely think he's going to put them in a position to potentially compete for the playoffs, without a doubt.
Now, Will Levis, of course, wasn't the number 1 overall pick in the draft, but he was picked early in the second round. What was your take on him? And, do you 100% turn the page on him, or is he a guy that is in the right scenario and maybe, is in a different program where he could still have an opportunity to have a successful NFL career? Or did you not buy on Will Levis at all?
No, I like him. I think he's a little, the thing that kind of always concerned me was I felt like he's a little rigid, like stiff, like sometimes, so muscular, sometimes like it's almost like it's tough for him to, but he still was a productive player. We had actually a center from Kentucky this past year training here for the draft. And Eli was telling us, super smart guy, prepares really well. I think maybe the knock on him, maybe a little bit over prepare, or maybe sometimes like just cutting it loose where like take a Cam Ward, like he just plays sometimes. You got to just play street ball sometimes. You've got to get the ball out, and it is see it, believe it, let it rip and fly, where some guys overanalyze things because it can be so, complex with all the schemes and everything else. But I think, new system, I think he could be a bridge the gap ready maybe. But I wouldn't give up totally on him. Could be a solid guy, maybe a backup, but I don't think you cut the guy or anything like that, obviously, with what they've got invested in him.
So you work with quarterbacks at all levels, college kids, high school kids, even youth kids, and so on. What kind of what does this mean for your business when you see a kid that was a 0-star? I mean, literally a 0-star. Cam Ward, 5 years ago, he was a 0-star. When he was at Incarnate Word, he said that someday he would be the first pick overall in the NFL draft. I mean, this has got to be something that really buoys a lot of young kids who, maybe aren't totally developed by the time they're 16, 17 years old, and everybody kind of forgets about them. And then look what can happen.
So I'm going to give you this. Early ripe, okay, equals early rot. So when you get kids that are like coming out and you're like, man, that guy in high school, he is put together, he's ready to roll. Is he going to rot early? Like, has he hit his ceiling? Like, I think kids like that, it just speaks to like their undeniable, just kind of just grit and like fortitude to make it. So whatever journey they got to take, and that's really what I see. I see a lot of kids just giving up early. I mean, I've had so many situations where kids like they expect the recruiting to happen. They get this place. Look, the NFL, all that money, there's a lot of adversity, and you know that in life. So I look at kids that like really want it. They're, the adversity, they're willing to power through it. But obviously you've got to have some of the physical genetic skills, right? We talked about this, I think, before. You got to have like to play at that level, or to play at the like a higher college level. You got to have like 1 to 2 elite traits. So I think when you got that combination, like absolutely, that's got to inspire a lot of kids. It's a great story. The kid kept working, and man, he made it for himself.
Yeah, Ken Mastrole with us, Mastrole Passing Academy. I'll make a basketball analogy to that. Bruce Pearl says he loves taking kids out of the transfer portal that are coming up from Group of Five or mid-major conferences to the SEC or to Auburn, because they have a work ethic. They've worked hard to make themselves better and so on. And he gives a lot of time that kid is better than that kid that's a one-and-doner who thinks that the sun rises and sets on him and is just looking to get to the league and he's going to be there for 15 minutes, where you take some kid that's been battling for 2 years at some small school and made his game better and so on. They come in with a much better work ethic. So you could say the same thing. Maybe sometimes that's that play. Now, I'm not saying that Arch Manning is going to suck, in the NFL, but maybe maybe there's some truth to that, though, in terms of, what a kid's work ethic is as he's coming up.
Well, I just think, too, you got to look at, like, whether they're a single-family household or two parents. But look at the kids that, like, last night. Like, these are like, humble, hardworking, like, just, you get the parents that are just, like, yahoos on social media, and they're pushing their kids, and they just make it all about, like, they want it more than the kids and living vicariously. That has a lot to do with this whole thing. I mean, it's putting them in other sports, letting them compete, letting them face adversity, and letting them roll. And if he wants it, he's going to go figure it out. I mean, it's the same thing with my guy, Steph Hennigan, that I'm hoping, gets drafted in the later rounds. Dad was a football coach. Mom, I think, did some teaching. And the dad said, look, if you want this, like, I'll help you. But the day you tell me you don't want it, then we'll go find something else to do. And he was self-motivated. So I think that has a lot to do with it, Tom. I really do.
There's an article in USA Today written by a guy, an opinion piece, saying that it doesn't sit right with him. The reasons people are saying why Shedeur Sanders did not get drafted and why Jackson Dart got drafted ahead of him, because it's so obvious that Shedeur Sanders is much better than Jackson Dart, had a much better college career than Jackson Dart. and that it seems to boil down to off the field things like anonymous sources saying he bombed the interview process, and others saying that he's not professional enough, and others saying that he's arrogant and so on. And he's in the writer of the article said not a single word of any of that sits well with me. Well, why do we have these interview process if it doesn't mean anything, right? I mean, what you could the film could look great, but when you're sitting down, you're talking about investing millions of dollars in a young man. When you sit down and you have that interview, if it's meaningless, why are you even doing it? And you could decide, you could feel at that point in time, and I don't know if that was the case or not, but you may feel at that point in time that this kid doesn't get it, and I don't know that he's gonna get it, and we may be making a mistake, right? I mean, that's a legit thing, the interview process.
Well, I do, and I think part of it too is based on your structure. So there are coaches out there, like in the NFL, in college, that are non-confrontational guys. They're not going to address these things, right? I mean, take case in point, like what happened with Russell Wilson. Brings in, his own quarterback coach. Like, if a quarterback told me he wanted to bring me into the program, I would feel really awkward if I didn't get the green light from the head coach. But when Sean Payton walked in there, he was like, I'm cutting all this out, all this extracurricular activity. This is how I want the ship to run. So I think it's all about the systems in place, but a coach has to feel confident. Like, with Shedeur, obviously you're going to get that media. I heard the kid over prepares. I heard he's a great, teammate. He works hard and all that. But yes, I could see how that could scare somebody off. But if I'm a coach, you got to have a strong organization to say, look, if you're coming in here, I'm going to tell you right now, you're not bringing in your social media presence and all that. We're going to win football games. And we're going to go from there. I can't speak for him, but I would think, the other thing too is they were right. He's a great passer. I've seen him live, very accurate. Not that, but again, the NFL trending in this athletic, Mahomes-ish, Josh Allen kind of world that we're kind of living in now, where I still think the Bradys of the world exist. You just got to have the right structure and the line for it to succeed.
Yeah. And he has hung on to the ball a little bit too long, takes a little bit too many sacks and things like that. But yeah, you're right. You tell him right off the bat, you're not bringing your little brother in here to document camp and everything else, and have a guy following you around all the time and doing your little videos and all of that. And if they can't deal with that, then you move on. And I likened it to Tim Tebow and to Colin Kaepernick after the kneeling incident and everything else. These teams don't want to bring the circus to town. They don't, man. They just don't want to bring the circus to town. And so it'll be interesting to see. The Browns could take them first pick in the second round tonight. Who knows?
I 100% agree. I could tell you, I'm not going to bring up the names, but I know some former guys that played with Kaepernick, and they looked beyond that and they said, he lost the locker room. More about the receivers, and you got to win the linemen over first. That's the number one for a quarterback.
You're right.
Win the linemen over, and then win the skill position players over.
Ken Mastrole has been our guest. Kenny, I appreciate you so much, and we'll look forward to chatting down the road, man.
Tom, thanks for having me on.
All right, thank you. That's Ken Mastrole. Tremendous job. All right, tremendous job by Captain Cool back in studio as well. We'll be back in studio on Monday. Everybody keep Joe Hunk in your thoughts and prayers as they'll have a baby on Monday. For John, I'm Tom. Have a great weekend, everybody.
This is Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. The wait continues for former Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders. He was not picked last night during the opening round of the NFL draft, so he will wait for his name to be called tonight. ESPN NFL draft analyst Mel Kiper Jr. listing Sanders as the best available prospect heading into rounds 2 and 3. 6 Eastern ESPN Radio, 7 Eastern ESPN 2 and ABC. Cleveland has the first pick in round 2. Grizzlies point guard John Morant will be evaluated further today after suffering a hip injury during last night's loss to the Thunder in Game 3 of that NBA first-round playoff series.